Howdy, folks. Howdy. Happy Purim. I'm the native kid, better known to you as Cowboy Larry. Tonight, we're all gathered here to celebrate Purim, hear the Megillah, and boo the name of you-know-who. Last Purim, it was just me in here with two superheroes and a bunch of empty seats. But today, we've got a lot of people ready to whoop it up. So let's say yee-haw for vaccinations! A few things before we get started. First, when I'm out on the range, I sometimes put my kerchief over my face like a... and my mic in my mouth. When I sometimes put my kerchief over my face like a mask to keep the dust out of my face, especially when there's a cattle stampede. And I have a cousin, the black sheep of my family, goes by the name of Babylon Bill. Well, he wears his over his face when it's time for a stick-up. Now, some of you folks may be wearing them mask codes. It's part of your costume. But hot diggity and hallelujah. Now we all get a choice if we want to wear a mask when we know everyone is vaccinated here at Temple Emeth. Second, is there anyone here who ain't received a Purim booklet yet? And then you should let our board member Michael Goldberg know if you still need one. There he is. If you're watching on live stream, you can click on the link on our live stream page. Now, before we begin our celebration, we need someone to stand here and there to lead the service. In a minute, you will meet a sweetheart of my outlaw cousin, Babylon Bill. By Jiminy, her name even rhymes with his. But first, give a hoop and a holler for someone who's going to make sure you have a doggone good time.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, yeah, crying all the time. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit, and you ain't a friend of mine.
Happy Purim! We are very glad to see you, and I'm very excited to read the Megillah, and to cheer, and to boo when the time is right. But I can't do it by myself. You know, when we hear the Megillah, we are going to hear about the enemy of the Jewish people. The enemy of the Jewish people is named Haman. But I'm a Dalmatian. The name doesn't mean very much to me. There's only one name that puts fear in the bones of every Dalmatian. And that name, it rhymes with Babylon Bill. That name is Cruella de Vil.
quiet. Is that evil enough? Did I do good? Okay.
You can work on it. Pretend
Okay.
that it's a bat mitzvah student who hasn't practiced in 3 weeks.
I'm calling your parents. How's that? Okay. Hey, there's a Dalmatian here. Are you Pongo or Perdita?
One's a boy and one's a girl.
Oh, I don't know. And I don't know where that voice came from. It's not good for your voice. Okay, I won't do it anymore. Okay.
Well, welcome everyone. We are ready to start our service. More than ready. Those people on live stream, they've been typing in, when's it starting into the chat or comment section for 8 extra minutes. So we are ready. If you're watching on live stream, go ahead and type Happy Purim and your name and your location in the chat or comment section of the live stream platform. And for everybody, we are now ready to turn to page 1 of our service booklet for a responsive reading. Purim is unlike any other Jewish holiday. On the high holy days, we seek to uncover our true selves.
On Purim, we wear masks so no one can tell who we are.
On Sukkot, we wonder and worry whether the winter will be difficult. On Passover, we give God full credit for our redemption.
On Purim, we read a scroll that does not even mention God's name.
We learn that sometimes the courageous actions of men and women can save our people. We continue as we rise for the Baruch Hu. Many Hamans have tried to destroy us. Though they have attacked the Jewish body, they have not damaged the Jewish soul. Our enemies will never succeed so long as we continue to stand and declare that God is one.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Please be seated. We turn to page 2 for another responsive reading. Love Adonai your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate, for they are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. Here's my favorite Purim limerick.
No, not
Yes.
a limerick.
A limerick.
I don't
a
like
Dalmatian limerick.
But see, now a limerick is good this year, Rabbi, because it's Purim and St.
Oh,
Patrick's
and
Day.
it's St. Patrick's
See?
Day. Yes, that's why the booklets are in green.
Yes,
I've been
and the
preparing.
I've been
preparing for the last 12 years for this day when Purim and St. Patrick's Day would fall on the same day. There once was a people in slavery in Egypt, a place not so savory. Though their journey was long, they sang out a great song, thanking God for such unending bravery. Now, from time to time in this service, I will offer some dog puns because I'm wearing a dog outfit and it's Purim. We now pause. Thank you. We pause for the silent prayer.
Says Shalom Bimromav.
Woof, woof, woof.
Huya says Shalom.
Woof, woof.
Aleinu vel kol Yisrael.
Woof, woof.
Ve'imechru Amen.
Woof, woof, woof. Well, it is almost time to hear the tale of the Megillah.
That was a good one, actually.
So we are going to take a moment and distribute groggers so you can make noise at the appropriate time.
Noise.
Let me now offer some dog riddles to fill this moment. What's the difference between a football player and a dog? I don't know. What is the difference between a football player has a whole uniform, but a dog only pants. I've got so many of these. Why don't Dalmatians like to take baths? They don't want to be spotless. Boy, they're really hoping that these get distributed quickly. Okay, why did the dog go down the rapids? I don't know. Why did the dog go down? Because he liked rough water. Okay, this is my last one. How do you keep a dog from barking in the back seat of the car? I don't know. How do you keep a dog from barking in the back seat of the car? Put him in the front seat of the car. We are now ready for the blessing for reading the Megillah. It sounds like
That's me.
all the groggers have been distributed. Let's have a little practice, though, because some years I have the stop sign, but this year I have only me and my hands. So let's practice once. Haman. Not bad. All right. Cruella, they are ready for the blessing on page 4.
Even Cruella does blessings. Oh, wait, should I do it with this? Okay. This is a chopstick, by the way. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mikra Megillah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa nisim labotenu bayamim hahem bazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kiyemanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh.
In days of old, there lived a rich and powerful king named Ahasuerus who ruled all of the Persian Empire. To celebrate his great prosperity, King Ahasuerus invited his princes, noblemen, and servants to a big feast which lasted for 7 days. On the last day of the celebration, the king sent for his beautiful wife Vashti because he was proud of her and wanted to present her to the people. But Vashti refused to come at the king's command. Ahasuerus was enraged at the queen's rude behavior and felt that her actions might encourage other wives to disobey their husbands. So he sent Vashti away from the palace and issued a decree. This called all the beautiful young maidens of the land to come before him so that he could choose a new queen. We are on page 5 now, and to continue with our story, we turn on camera 2, and we hear from Iris Pierce.
A Jew named Mordecai heard the decree and was eager for his niece Esther to go before the king, because she was very beautiful. So Mordecai brought Esther to the palace, first advising her not to tell anyone that she was of the house of Israel. When Esther went before Ahasuerus, he could not take his eyes away from her. He fell in love with her and preferred her to all the other maidens. So he set the royal crown on Esther's head and made her queen in place of Vashti. After several days had passed, Esther's uncle Mordecai happened to pass 2 of the king's guards and overheard them plotting to murder the king. Immediately, Mordecai went to Esther, who in turn told Ahasuerus of the plan to murder him. When the matter was investigated, the 2 guards confessed to the plot and were put to death.
Thank you. Round of applause for Iris for excellent Megillah reading. Then Ahasuerus appointed a man named... So now is the time for some fun Dalmatian facts. Did you know that Dalmatians are named for the Dalmatia region of Croatia in Europe? It's right there on the coast. I can tell you did not know, nor did you care. Did you know that Dalmatians became an official standard breed in 1890.
Rabbi.
Well, what else do they have to do? They're here, and I'm a Dalmatian. Did you know that Dalmatians are associated with firefighting, particularly in the United States? In the days of horse-drawn fire engines, Dalmatians would guard the horses who could easily become uncomfortable at the scene of a fire. Dalmatians were a popular breed for this job due to their natural affinity to horses and their history of being used as carriage dogs. This became less necessary as horse-drawn carriages were replaced by
Did you
fire.
know that these facts are all things that I know a lot about?
It's not me, it's Wikipedia.
I'm Steve Serbu. I know a lot about everything.
Haman! In whom he had great trust, to be his chief officer in charge of the many princes and governors in the land. All the people of Persia bowed down to Haman. To show their respect for the king's favored servant. But Mordecai did not trust Haman. And refused to bow down to him. Haman was filled. I almost missed that one. With fury and hatred, and vowed that he would punish not only Mordecai, but all the Jews in the land. Haman went to Ahasuerus with an untrue story. He told the king that certain people in Persia were following their own customs and not also obeying the king's laws. Haman urged the king to destroy these people because he said they were weakening his kingdom. Ahasuerus trusted and believed Haman. And so he gave him full permission to do whatever he believed was necessary for the good of the country. With the king's permission, the evil Haman ordered the death of every Jew in the land. For the next part of our story, we turn now to Jennifer Maddock.
When Mordecai heard this fearful news, he tore his clothes and put on sackcloth, the robes of grief. When he went to Esther's chambers and asked them to take the news to Esther, he also told them to ask her to go before the king and plead for her people's safety and for her own life. Esther was frightened, for there was a royal custom that no one could approach the king unless that person was sent for. If any man or woman disobeyed this rule, the penalty was death. Mordecai sent Esther a message saying, "Do not think that you will be spared just because you are queen. If you keep silent in this crisis, deliverance will come to the Jews from another place, but you and your father's house will perish."
Thank you, Jennifer. Round of applause for Jennifer. So this is like the key moment. Will Esther approach the king? She has to think about it. She has to think that the fate of the Jewish people lies with her. And maybe she even sung about the big decision she had to make if she sang. I'm sure she sang the song that Eitz Chaim, our junior choir, has prepared for this moment. And so it is my pleasure to invite Eitz Chaim to the bima to sing a song about Esther and never accept de paw, de leg, de hand, de tail. So Eitz Chaim, come on up. We're ready for you.
was like, making the sheet. Okay, there. That's for you guys. You need one? Sure. And you guys need, again, I have the same problem.
Is Avery doing a solo then?
Yeah. Who?
You can help you.
Yeah, you want another person to do it with you? Sure. Okay, so stand in your spot. Will you sing their part with them also, in addition, Aria? Will you also sing their part? It's this way. Yeah, they want you to sing with them in addition to your own part. Okay?
Am I gonna do Ariana solo?
Yeah, of course. Who do you sing with? Aria. So go over there. Move down front row. Move down this way. No, you stay up there. You stay this way. You move this way. Oh, you're good. You stay there. You guys are good. Okay, good. Perfect. Okay, guys. Make sure that you watch Emma for the hand movements, okay? Make sure you do the hand moves. So as soon as you're done with your part, put your paper down so you can do the hand movements, okay? Okay, good. Ready, Tom?
Ready.
Okay, good.
In a place you may have heard about, in Shushan, as you know, an evil man named Haman said,
"The Jews have got to go."
Now Esther was the Jewish queen, and she knew not where to turn, till Mordecai, her cousin, said, "There is something you must learn.
Oh, Esther, you can change the world. You can make the world complete. Take the pride you feel inside and never accept defeat." Ready?
There's an evil plot against us now, a list of cruel demands, and Esther, only you can help. Our fate is in your hands. She said, "Cousin, do you really think that a difference I can make? A Jewish girl before the king, it could be a big mistake."
Ready? Oh, no, you keep yours. Take the pride and never accept defeat. 1, 2, 3. So
Esther went before the king, although she was afraid. She still got proud, and still got loud. Her people will say. So now we read the Megillah at Purim time each year, and learn how God can give us strength to overcome our fear.
remember, you can change the world. You can make the world complete. Take the pride you feel inside and never accept defeat. One more time, let me hear you. You can change the world. Nice and loud. You can make the world complete. Take the pride you feel inside. Hey, I don't like kids or dogs. You gotta hold it up. Ready? And never accept defeat. Oh, you're reading. Go to the rabbi. He knows what you should do.
Thank you and Yasher Koach to Eitz Chaim. Another round of applause for Eitz Chaim. And we are on the last line of page 5 as we continue with the Megillah. Hearing this, Esther resolved to speak to the king, not only to save her own life. That was good. I heard you all turning the page. Cue page. But for the sake of all the Jews in Persia. So she put on her most beautiful royal robes and stood at the entrance to the king's palace. Ahasuerus was sitting on his throne, and he at once saw his fair queen standing before him. Instead of being angry, Ahasuerus was pleased to see her and held out his golden scepter to show that she was welcome. And Esther drew near and touched the end of the scepter as a sign of respect for the king. We now turn to Emma Foyer to tell us the next part of the story. Then Ahasuerus, page 6.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Then Ahasuerus promised to grant any wish for Esther, even if it meant giving away half of his kingdom. But Esther explained that her only wish at the moment was for the king and his officer Haman to join her at dinner the next evening. Both the king and Haman accepted Esther's invitation, and Haman went away feeling very happy and honored that the queen had chosen him as her guest. In fact, he felt so safe and sure of both the king and queen's favor that he had the gallows made for Mordecai's hanging the next morning.
Thank you to Emma for reading part of our story. That same evening, King Ahasuerus had trouble falling asleep. Maybe it was because the dog in his bed climbed over his face in order to go out the back door to pee at 2 in the morning and then get skunked so that, oh, I'm sorry, it got a little too close to home. So he sent for a special book in which all of the memorable deeds in the land were recorded. As Ahasuerus was reading, he came to the part which told how Mordecai had saved his life by exposing the murderous plot of the 2 royal guards. Ahasuerus asked his servants if any honor or reward had been given to Mordecai, and they replied that nothing had been done for him. Just then, Haman entered the king's chamber to speak to Ahasuerus about Mordecai's hanging, as the gallows was ready and waiting. But before Haman could say anything, Ahasuerus asked his trusted officer, "What shall be done to the man whom the king delights to honor?" And Haman thinking that the king wanted to honor him, said, "I would give this man royal robes that the king has worn, a horse that the king has ridden, and let him ride through the streets of the city for all the people to honor." Then Ahasuerus said to Haman, "Make haste, take the robes and the horse as you have said, and do so to Mordecai the Jew, who sits at the king's gate." Haman was shocked by the king's request, but he obeyed Ahasuerus. In great anger and jealousy, he led Mordecai through the streets to be honored by the whole city. The next evening, Ahasuerus and Haman attended Queen Esther's feast. While everyone was eating, the king said to Esther, "What is your wish?" And Esther replied, "My wish is that you save the lives of my people and myself, for we have been ordered to die." Then King Ahasuerus said, "Who is the man who could do such a thing?" Again Esther replied, a foe, and an enemy. This wicked Haman! I'm begging you to stop.
Oh, I get it. Begging you to. Okay. Got it.
He has ordered the death of all the Jews, and since I'm a Jew, I am to die too. Angrily, King Ahasuerus rose to his feet and ordered Haman to be hanged from the very gallows he had prepared for Mordecai. Not only was Haman hanged, but his sons as well, for they were part of his wicked scheme. Now, in a minute, we'll hear the end of the story of celebration. I think that, given that we're in the sanctuary and we're going to read about this great celebration, I should be a little bit more formal for the occasion. In fact, now that I'm wearing my tie, I think that I am now dressed up to the canines.
Oh my gosh, that was a bad one.
This is my Homer Simpson tie. You know that Homer Simpson also has a dog, not a Dalmatian. He has a greyhound. Who knows the name of Homer Simpson's dog? Santa's little helper, the Pinonis family. Nice. Woo! All right. And now, to bring us home, we turn once again to the Hineni Kid, Cowboy Larry.
Then Ahasuerus gave Haman's house to Queen Esther, and chose Mordecai to be his chief officer in place of Haman.
Last one! Make it a good one!
When the Jews heard of this victory against the villainous Haman, who threatened to take their lives, they all gathered and made an enormous feast. Since then, celebrating a holiday called Purim, at which time this ancient story of Esther is retold, has become an annual tradition.
Thank you to Cowboy Larry and to all of our reading volunteers.
Thank you kindly.
Well, we read in this last paragraph about the great celebration, the enormous feast. It doesn't get into a lot of detail. Maybe the Jews of Shushan were singing, or maybe the Jews of Shushan were dancing. And if they were dancing, maybe their dance looked a little bit like this.
part on Yom Kippur.
We continue now. Other side.
Aleinu.
Cantor and Rabbi move back to podiums.
Aleinu.
Oh, we did that. Introduction to the Aleinu. We continue with the Aleinu on page 7. Please rise if you are able for the Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'ateit g'dula l'yotzer reshit, shelo sanik v'yeh haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpat ha'daman, shelo sanik Elokeinu karem, v'gor aleinu k'chol amanam, v'anachnu kore'im, u'mishtachalim u'modim, l'bnei melech, malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
Even on joyous days, we remember people in our family whose lives have ended. Though they are no longer with us, we think of them. We have heard our friends and family talk about them. They are a part of us. We ask you, Adonai, to remember them and give them peace. Please join me in reading the Mourner's Kaddish, page 8. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'yizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivorach leolam u'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudsha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to those who mourn among us, bringing them comfort among the bereaved of the house of Israel and the bereaved of all humanity. And let us say, Amen. Sit. 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 We continue now, so we're going to do two things at once, and actually Michael Goldberg's in charge of both of them. But I'm gonna cover for him on the groggers, and Michael, come on up and give the announcements. And while Michael's coming up, please pass your groggers to the center aisle. And where's the box? In the back. All right. And Gail and I will collect the groggers while Michael tells you all about what to expect in the announcements.
On behalf of the Board of Trustees, it is my pleasure to welcome you to our Purim Service
Bring
and
the
regular
microphone
reading.
closer to you. Pull it closer. Just pull it. Pull the whole arm.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Join us for the Rabbi Louis J. Siegel Scholar in Residence Weekend with Rabbi Eric Wisnia on March 25th to 27th. The theme for the weekend will be My Guide for Those Perplexed About Prayer, God and Torah. Rabbi Wisnia served Congregation Beth Chaim in Princeton Junction, New Jersey for 42 years. During that time, he led his congregation through substantial growth and gained a reputation for sensitivity, intelligence, and good humor. Shabbat lunch and Sunday brunch will be served in accordance with the Temple's policy for COVID-safe meals. Reservations for meals are due by this Saturday, March 19th. I hope you will join us for our second night Passover Seder on Saturday, April 16th. After 2 years of celebrating on Zoom, we're planning to celebrate together again in person. Attendance is limited to Temple Emeth members and their families. COVID protocols in effect at that time will apply. To ensure our minimum registration for the Seder, we must have 35 paid reservations submitted by March 27th. You can make your reservation at emeth.org. Please see the details in the weekly email. Thank you to this evening's volunteers at the live stream control room. We have the A-team tonight, Amanda Eastman and Talia Serbiu. Thank you both. I won't say Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Michael. So we are just about at the end of our service. That means that if you've been watching us on live stream, you can post one more Purim greeting in the chat or comment section of our live stream platform. Let us say thank you to the people who made this service fabulous. First of all, thank you to our Megillah readers from ETC. We had Iris Pierce, and we had Emma Foyer, and we had Jennifer Maddock. Round of applause for our Megillah readers. And one of them was an understudy, but you'll never know which one it was because all three of them were fabulous. Next is, let us thank Tom Mustachio for the running soundtrack of our entire Megillah reading. Let's see. Well, Eitz Chaim, they were wonderful. And under the direction of Corella DeVille herself. And it would not be Purim at Temple Emeth without the Hineni Kid himself. Give it up for Cowboy Larry. So here's what's going to happen next. We have Homentashen and apple juice and coffee waiting for us in the social hall. But before we can do that, we need in just a minute to photograph all of the children who are wearing costumes. I'm going to invite you in just a sec to come stand on the steps. Our official temple photographer, Barbara Balcom, will take your picture. My guess is that your parents or grandparents may also want to take your picture, so we're going to hold that for just a minute, and then we're going to do a costume parade. The route for the parade is going to be all the way around so that we're picked up on camera too. And then we're going to go straight up the middle so we're picked up again on camera 1. And then the costume parade is going to lead directly into the Oneg with the Homentashen waiting for us. So pass your Megillah service booklets to someone who's not wearing a costume because they can put them back out in front of the sanctuary. And now I invite everyone wearing a costume to come up on the Bima steps. And because you're following me, you are first to the Homentashen when it's all done. All right? Okay, here we go. Time for the costume parade.
2, 8, 7, 2, 5.